Born into royalty, crowned queen before your first birthday, only to spend nearly 2 decades locked away in castles and cold stone halls. This is the extraordinary story of Mary, Queen of Scots, the queen who ruled not from a throne, but from a prison cell. For 19 long years, Mary was a prisoner in England, yet she never stopped fighting for her crown, her faith, and her legacy. In fact, even behind bars, she remained one of the most dangerous women in Europe. Mary's life started like a fairy tale. She became Queen of Scotland when she was just 6 days old. At 16, she married the future King of France, and for a brief moment, she was Queen of 2 nations. But tragedy struck quickly. Her husband, Francis II, died young, and Mary returned to rule a volatile Scotland. Her Catholic faith immediately put her at odds with the rising Protestant movement in her country. And in a world where religion meant power, her beliefs were more than personal. They were political dynamite. Then came scandal. Her second marriage to Henry Stuart, Lord Darnley, was a disaster. He was arrogant, violent, and jealous. When he was mysteriously murdered, and Mary married the man widely suspected of orchestrating his death, the Scottish nobles turned on her. She was forced to abdicate the throne in favor of her infant son, James VI. With everything collapsing around her, Mary fled across the border into England, seeking protection from her cousin, Queen Elizabeth I. But Elizabeth saw not a relative in need. She saw a rival. Mary had a claim to the English throne as a Catholic descendant of Henry VII. To many English Catholics, she was the rightful queen, not Elizabeth, whose legitimacy they questioned. Letting Mary run free would be like handing a match to someone standing in a room soaked in gasoline. So Elizabeth had Mary imprisoned. Not in some dirty dungeon, though. This was royal captivity. Mary was moved from one noble estate to another, kept under guard, but given books, letters, servants, and most importantly, hope. And that's where the legend begins. Mary may have lost her crown, her freedom, and her country, but she never lost her sense of purpose. She was not just a queen in exile. She became a symbol of resistance for Catholics across Europe. Through secret letters and a network of loyal supporters, she plotted, schemed, and tried to reclaim what she believed was hers. Even under surveillance, she maintained contact with conspirators who dreamed of freeing her, restoring Catholicism to England, and placing her on Elizabeth's throne. Mary's very presence was a threat, a living banner for rebellion. The English government knew this. Her jailers read her letters, they changed her staff, but somehow Mary still found ways to communicate in cipher, to send hidden messages, to be involved in plots she insisted she never approved. And all the while Elizabeth hesitated. She feared executing a fellow queen, a move that could legitimize similar actions against monarchs everywhere. But in 1586, Mary went too far, or rather, her enemies finally caught her red-handed. The infamous Babington Plot was the final straw. Mary's letters were intercepted, revealing her approval of a plan to assassinate Elizabeth and spark a Catholic uprising. It was the smoking gun the English crown had waited nearly 2 decades for. Mary was put on trial, a queen judged by her cousin's court, in a country she didn't rule, accused of treason against a monarch she never recognized as her superior. Her trial was more political theater than justice. Mary defended herself fiercely, invoking her royal status, her faith, her innocence. But it was too late. The verdict was already written. On February 8, 1587, Mary, Queen of Scots, was executed. She wore red, the color of Catholic martyrdom, and even in death she remained a queen. But here's the twist. Elizabeth's fears came true. Mary's execution made her a martyr across Europe. Catholics revered her, writers romanticized her, and in the ultimate irony, her son, James VI of Scotland, would later become James I of England, uniting the very crowns Mary had fought to claim.